हरि ओम शं नो मित्रस्यं वरुणः शं नो भवत्वर्यमा शं न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शं नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. The next this thing is the purpose of astrology. Astrology can be used for many purposes, the lowest of which is prediction. This is already explained to you. For example, it can be used to know when to undergo a surgical operation and when not to undergo, when to approach a doctor and when not to approach, what to do in this life and what to avoid, what are our strong points and what are our weak points. This is what is called the approach to oneself. So this is the way I explained to you many times, and you also know this very clearly. The purpose of astrology is not only the prediction. Suppose if you wanted to meet a doctor, for example, or if the doctor suggests an operation, and what is the time, what is the good time to go to the operation? Suppose if it is an emergency, and we don't have an opportunity or chance to fix up a right time, but if there is a time, generally in India, especially in the South India where I am living, generally we request the doctor to go for the operation at a proper time. We select some hora or we select some good time to go for the operation, and we avoid certain horas. I will explain to you what is hora, and we avoid certain horas. And we prefer certain horas like that. So we believe and we find that that particular time is very good. What for? Doctor will have a clear idea what to do, and his mind is so peaceful, and the people around, who are there in the operation theatre also, if the time is very auspicious, and we feel that all of them work with harmony, without any much disturbance. And if you have experience with you, and you will understand what I am telling you now. But in the West, absolutely I think there is no possibility for it, because the doctors they go on, the hospitals, the doctors they go on with their time. They won't allow all these things. If I am right, it's okay. We pray the master and leave it to him, and everything goes well. But India, in generally, we select these things. I will give you an example here, which is so interesting. Once when the doctor told my wife, and operation has to be conducted immediately within 2 days. She developed some tumor in the stomach. We are not aware of that, and suddenly they found it, and they said she has to undergo the operation immediately. So we came to Vizag, and we requested the doctor, and you please go, if you try to do the operation this time. And the doctor said, no, I am very busy, I cannot do the operation at that time, and if you want me to go for operation, and I will select my own time, and as per his convenience, not good or bad. He said that fellow came very late, and he came when the Mars hour is going on. Exactly he came and started the operation in the Mars hour. So 1 hour over and 1.5 hour over, and already they have to complete it. The normal time is just 1 hour for everything. After 2 hours also, they did not send my wife from the operation theatre, and by the time she came out, and she was struggling to breathe. They tried their best in the operation theatre, but they could not control the situation, and they brought her out to the ICU. And then said, what is going on, and why she is not struggling for the breath? They said she developed some cardiac problem, and then they tried to manipulate the things, and they are trying to throw the blame. Already she is having the cardiac problem or the breathing problem, something like that. So by master's end, we thought, and she thought, my wife told me, and I'm going to die, and I'm having a lot of breathing problem, and something happened in the theater, and I don't know what happened. And no, she did not explain all the things, but she's doing some signs and like that, and not able to breathe like that. And she's showing her thumb towards the operation theater and like that. So I also thought, and she is in a very critical situation. All the doctors asked all of us to vacate the ICU. And then by God's grace, by Master's grace, and she was all right. And after 30 minutes, everything was set right, and she came to the normal room. And she explained to me what happened, and she didn't know what happened actually. There was some problem in the anesthesia. Then after 1 hour, and the doctor came, and she asked the doctor, what did you do, and what is wrong with the treatment, and what is there anything wrong with the anesthesia? And she put a lot of questions, and they didn't agree with it, but somehow she survived. Why I am telling you this is, actually when they have taken this lady into the operation theatre, that the time is not so auspicious, and I know the planetary positions are not good, but we are in helpless state. We cannot help. The doctor decide, they will do it. So why I am telling you this is, sometimes they select very good time by themselves without knowing that. Sometimes when our time is not going well, and they pick up a wrong time. So if you ask me, if you fix a right time, for example, for a critical case, is it possible for any survival? If you ask me like that, I am not telling that. As human beings, whatever knowledge we have, either in the medical side or in the astrological side or any side, we will try to use it. And that's what the master is explaining here. So at those particular junctions, we will try to select a good time where the planetary positions are in a harmonious or in a good aspects are there. So what are our strong points and what are our weak points? And the next thing is, we will understand what are our strong points and what are our weak points. This is very, very important. Why people suffer in their life, why people struggle in their life. And I observed many people. Why people struggle in their life means, when they are particularly very weak in certain aspects. Is it a must to improve their skills or develop some skills, or whether they have to focus on the skills where they are very strong? These two things are there. Here we like certain things. Every one of us, we have certain likings in the life, right? So some are successful in fulfilling their dreams. Some they cannot fulfill their dreams. It depends upon the horoscope. Suppose the Venus is very strong in the horoscope, they may be successful in the fine arts, not in the martial arts. Even though the people who are ruled by the Venus, even though they like the martial arts, but they cannot survive there, because Venus is related with the fine arts, not martial arts. For the martial arts, Mars should be very strong. Liking is different from the practical side of things. If you know the astrology, we know our weak points and very strong points, and we will try to focus on the strong points for our survival, for our future life, or the job or education, whatever it may be. Where we are not so strong, generally what we do, we will take care of that part of the life, and we will try to come out of it, or we try to learn something, or we will try to overcome it. That's it. This is very important here. So astrology is a key to knowing yourself, but unless we can make a sacrament through astrological procedure, unless we submit ourselves to a particular process, the complexes with which we are born are not broken. We have to live a sacramental life and a ritualistic life. So it is not so easy. It is not so easy. In some horoscopes, they are very strong in the society. In some horoscopes, they are very strong in the subjective world. In some horoscopes, they are very strong in the literature. In some horoscopes, they are very strong in the healing. In some horoscopes, they are very strong in certain things. Liking is nothing to do with the liking. The fortunate thing is, where we are strong, if we have strong liking towards it, this is what we call the fortune. Where we are not strong, if you develop a liking towards it, that is the bad luck. That is the unfortunate thing in the life. So if you ask me, even though I am not so strong in the horoscope, if I like it, what to do? If you like it so much, when try to do something about livelihood to maintain the life, and take the other thing as your hobby. Don't make it a lifelong thing. Take other thing as a hobby. So you have to think in a practical way. Understand? Suppose somebody goes beyond the mind and beyond the planetary positions, so we cannot predict about them. So I am not dealing with them. Okay. Unless we submit ourselves to a peculiar process, the complexes which we are born are not broken. Unless they are broken, we cannot understand the real meaning of occultism. The complexes should be broken. So out of 100, if I am right, 90% of the people, they live with their complexes. They live with their complexes. They live in the competition. They live with the comparison with others. They live with a lot of false ambitions, not right ambitions. They are born out of competition or comparison or liking. Something should be there. That's why what Master is telling here, unless they are broken, we cannot understand the real meaning of occultism. The complexes should be broken. Complexes, don't misunderstand. The complexes are only confined to the mundane life. Complexes are there in the spiritual life also. Complexes will be there with the so-called great people. So many complexes will be there. Unless we are free from our complexes, the karma will not go away. We are not liberated. The mind is not liberated. We are not free. We are not free because we are filled with complexes. That is Master is telling here. The most important aspect, the beauty of the Master explaining about the astrology is the 4 cardinal points. In Alice Abelli books also, she explained about the cross and the square, all these things. And she explained about the 4 cardinal points. Master explained also in a very beautiful way about the 4 cardinal points. And to explain about these 4 cardinal points, we need a lot of time. And these are the things to be explained when we meet personally. We have there should be a board, blackboard or whatever it may be, and we have to explain about these 4 cardinal points. But even otherwise, I will try to explain it in a simple way. And you remember that the theory of the 4 cardinal points and to understand our life in the background of the 4 cardinal points, and from the predictive astrology side, and from the mundane astrology side, and from the spiritual astrology side, the 4 cardinal points are very, very important. First we go into the symbols of popular astrology. Already I explained about the symbols, you find about that. If you stand on this earth, every day you have your east, west and the position of mid-heaven and the position of the bottom. The sun rises as in the east, comes to the mid-heaven when it is noon, sets in the west and then goes to the bottom when it is midnight. These 4 are called the cardinal points, which are governing our mentality and personality. So every one of us, we know these 4 cardinal points. Sunrise is the one cardinal point. After sunrise, sun goes to the mid-heaven. It is the second cardinal point. And sun sets at the west, the third cardinal point. And suns go down, is the north. That is the four cardinal points. These four cardinal points which are governing our mentality and personality. These four cardinal points governs our mentality and our personality. So, these four cardinal points in our horoscope means our ascendant, that is equal to sunrise. Our 10th house, it is the noon, mid-heaven. Our 7th house, west. And our 4th house, Nadir are the bottom. So 1, 10, 7 and 4 or 1, 4, 7 and 10, whatever it may be. So if you understand the planets between the 1, 4, 7 and 10, okay, then we will be able to understand our mentality and the personality. The time and the place of our birth point to the four corners of the space around us, and those planets and the stars that exist on the four corners work as the hours on the watch, just as we have the watch and its hours. These four cardinal points is the hours and the watch and the hours, the pointers, right? This is what he is explaining. So that's why whenever we want to see the horoscope, immediately we will try to see the two important things. One is the, already I explained to you, one is the first house, and that is ascendant, the moon and the sun, that is the first thing. The second thing is, we will try to understand the first house, that is ascendant, and 4th house, 7th house, 10th house. Any planets are there, or what are the planets aspecting the four houses, and how many planets are there between 1 and 4 or 4 and 7 and 7 and 10 and 10 and ascendant, like that. The third thing is, here Master did not explain, but I am giving you a clue here. Again we will try to understand 1, 5th and 9th. First house, 5th house and 9th house. So any planets are there in the first house, or any planets are there in the 5th house, or any planets are there in the 9th. These are called the trines. Those are called the cardinal points or the squares. 1, 4, 7, 10 is the squares. 1, 5th, 9th is the trines. So generally when we find the horoscopes, we will try to find out these places. And any planets are there, or what are the planets are aspecting the 1, 5th and 9th, or 1, 4, 7 and 10. These the three divisions are very important to understand the horoscope. Even now, even you also, with the background of our first level, I have given you the book also. And if you read that book, impersonal means don't keep your horoscope in your mind when you are reading any astrological book. If you keep your horoscope in your mind when you read any astrology book, definitely you will be confined only to your horoscope, and you will miss the rest 90%. And you will miss your horoscope also, because you cannot find all the results in your horoscope regarding the planet or aspect or the house or whatever it may be. So we have to read the book impersonally, and above all these things we have to read, we have to understand the horoscope, the principles of the planets, the principles of the signs and the houses and the aspects, all these things, and you have to correlate all those things and try to understand those things very carefully and try to take the notes. Then you will be useful to yourself and you will be useful to others also. You please remember. So these four corners indicate the planets and the zodiacal signs that indicate our mentality, our individuality and our personality. So these four corners indicate the planets and the zodiacal signs, indicate our mentality, individuality and the personality. What is mentality and what is individuality and what is personality? Jalkul explained, Alice Abel explained very beautifully in her books, and Master also explained in his lectures many times. These three things have a continuity: mentality, individuality and personality. What is the mentality, what is the individuality and what is the personality? They come from our previous births and they form a way to our next birth. From where? What is the root of this mentality, individuality and personality? They come to us from our previous birth, and they form a way to our next birth. So we cannot change our previous birth, but we can change the future birth with the practice in this particular present birth. You remember that. We cannot change the previous thing, we cannot change the past thing. We can change the future by changing the present. It is like a mantra. We can change the future by changing the present. Right. We cannot change ourselves, we cannot change anybody on this earth, but we can change ourselves. You remember that. So, if you read, I read one teaching of Master Yuji. I read about one of his teachings about the mind and the thought. It is so beautiful. He did not teach anything about astrology or anything about law of karma, but he explained in a very beautiful way about the thought and the mind. It is so beautiful. A thought comes to our mind to do something. A thought comes to our mind. A liking comes to our mind. A temptation comes to our mind. And it transforms into a thought. That's it. When that thought gains strength, when that thought, it is a thought, that's it. A thought came to our mind just like that. It's a good thought or a bad thought. So it is a good thought, leave it. We don't bother about that, because good is always good. It's a bad thought, a bad intention, a bad motive, a temptation, it is not good. Then what he said, it has come to you, just look at that and leave it. Don't try to bring it into the physical world. If you identify with that thought, if you identify with the temptation, if you try to bring it and enjoy it, right? First you feel it about it, and then you try to enjoy it, to fulfill it, then trouble starts. Otherwise what happens, just a thought comes to you and just observe it and leave it like that. It will not gain any strength. It will not be materialized. If it comes to the material side of things, then problem starts. So it is the highest yoga, highest meditation. Is it possible? No. It is not so easy. Suppose I have the habit of, I am giving you a small example, not big examples. I am having a habit of taking coffee. Master Ike also has given this example in one of his lectures in Europe. I had the habit of taking coffee. I like this. Even the smell of coffee I like very much. For example, suppose somebody is taking coffee to other room, and if I am giving the example given by the master, and when I am giving a lecture, somebody is taking the coffee to the other room, when I get the smell of it, I feel like taking the coffee, because I am used to take the coffee very often. I like that smell. Then what I will do, what happens then, even though I am giving the lecture, the smell is coming to me and I used to like that smell, and immediately when I stop my lecture or even stop my lecture and go and take one coffee and come back, I enjoy the coffee. This is the problem with the thought. So the previous lecture master told us a way of living and changing the attitudes. Live their life as a sacrament. It is not so easy. Teaching is very easy, but it is very difficult. That's why Master Ike knows very well that he likes coffee very much. And in Germany, if I am right, when somebody asks him about something, about his habit or something like that, Master stopped taking coffee. Right? Master stopped taking that coffee. He did not take afterwards. So, if you understand about ourselves, if you want to transform ourselves, if you want to change ourselves, life should become a ritual. In the ritual, what we do, we will be very clean, our dress, we keep our dress very clean and thoughts very clean and chanting very clean, and we prepare the hall, ritualistic hall very clean, and we will be very careful not to use any foul words even before the other language, before the ritual and before entering into the ritual. We make ourselves so clean in our thought and action and everything. That is the way we have to live our life also. That is what we call the sacrament or transformation. This here what Master is telling here. They come from our previous birth and they form a way of our next birth. So they indicate to us in which state of evolution we are in present. They also indicate to us in which state we are present in our present evolution. They are like the hours in the watch. The planets are like the hours in the watch. They never indicate a fate that is inevitable, but they indicate what hour in our evolution is taking place and what the purpose of our present birth is and what is that we are supposed to do in this life. This is the purpose of astrology. It's a very, very beautiful sentence. We have to write it on the wall, or you have to print a paper and put it in the wall in the prayer room. What sentence? They never indicate a fate that is inevitable. The planets or the signs or the houses, they never indicate a fate that is inevitable. They never indicate a fate that is inevitable. That is number one. But they indicate what hour in our evolution is taking place. They indicate what hour in our evolution is taking place. They will indicate where we are in the evolution. That is enough. If you know where we are, then we will try to take a journey towards the higher side of evolution. Then if you wanted to take a higher side of evolution, take a journey towards the higher side of evolution, what you have to do, you have to understand what is evolution, where we are, what are our likes, what about our dislikes, what about our mentality, what about our attitude towards life and towards the elders or towards the globe, towards the earth globe, towards our responsibilities, towards the earth, to the nature. All these things we will try to understand. When once we use the word evolution, we have to understand all these things. Who are the great masters? What about the teachings? What they taught? How they lived? All these things, right? And what the purpose of our present birth is, and what is the purpose in our present birth, and what is that we are supposed to do in this life. What is the purpose of this life and what are supposed to do in this life. This is the purpose of astrology. So many people, after listening to these lectures, generally they come to me and ask me what is the purpose of my life, and can you tell me by reading the horoscope. I said, to understand the purpose of life, and it is not so easy, my dear friend. So live a simple life, do the prayer regularly, try to help some people, live peacefully and simply, as simple as possible, do the meditation, always calm and peaceful, happy and joyful, try to be friendly with others, try to help some people without expecting anything from others, and read the good books, read the biographies of the great masters, the teachings of the great masters. Try to change yourself, don't try to change others, don't find fault with others, and don't take it as your life purpose to change others. That is not your duty. First change yourself. If everybody change themselves, there is no need to change others. People try to change others, that is the problem. The real teaching is change yourself. You need not change others. Everybody change himself or herself. What is the need? Where is the need to change others? So it is like a glamour to change others. Don't try to change others. Change yourself and live with the teaching. Live in the footsteps of the great masters. Read the very good books. Live a simple life, as simple as possible. That is the purpose of life. Live a healthy life. Take a healthy food. Be positive in the life. Be optimistic and be positive. Be practical. Be constructive. Be creative. lot of things are there, and this is the purpose of life, and it should not be a glamorous thing to know about it. Don't make it a glamorous thing to know about purpose of life. Generally what I used to tell my friends and students. So this is the purpose of astrology. Is a very, very good lecture by the master, and the one chapter is the purpose of astrology. In the lecture, occultism and zodiac, you can read it once again. Then tomorrow I will come with the next recording. I will come with the next heading. Okay.